Marcus hadn't slept on the plane. 14 hours from Kandahar, and all he could do was stare out at the black ocean below and think about home. Beside him, Rex, a 70-pound Belgian Malinois with a scar across his left ear and the most loyal eyes Marcus had ever known, rested his chin on Marcus's knee like he understood. Maybe he did. Dogs like Rex always understood more than they were given credit for. The taxi from the airport smelled like pine and old coffee. Marcus watched the Illinois suburbs blur past, and something in his chest began to tighten. He hadn't told his mother he was coming. He wanted to surprise her, wanted to see her face light up the way it always had when he walked through that door. Margaret Hayes, 63 years old, stubborn as brick, and the woman who had held 2 jobs so her son could eat while his father was off gambling away what little they had. Marcus owed her everything. The house on Clover Street looked different. The garden she kept obsessively, peonies in summer, mums in fall, was gone. Just weeds and cracked soil. The porch light was out. Marcus stepped from the cab, Rex at his heel, and stood very still in the October cold. Something was wrong. He could feel it the way he'd learned to feel danger in Helmand Province, quietly, in the bones. He knocked. No answer. Knocked again. Then he tried his old key, still on his chain, and the door swung open. The house was empty. Not robbed. Empty. Cleaned out. Furniture gone. A folded piece of paper sat on the kitchen counter like someone had left it intentionally. Like someone had known he would come. His hands shook as he unfolded it. It was a notice from Bright Meadows Senior Care Facility dated 6 weeks ago. His mother had been admitted for memory decline. And at the bottom, in his Uncle Gerald's handwriting, she signed over power of attorney. The house is being sold. Don't come looking. Marcus sat on the floor. Rex pressed against him, warm and steady, and Marcus buried his face in the dog's neck and breathed. In Kandahar, he had once carried a wounded Marine 3 kilometers under fire without stopping. He had diffused a situation with a hostile gunman using only patience and a steady voice. But nothing had ever hit him like this. The quiet violence of a family betrayal, the image of his mother alone in some facility while her brother sold her home beneath her. He drove to Bright Meadows that night. The nurse at the desk hesitated when he arrived in uniform, Rex beside him on a therapy animal pass Marcus had kept specifically for moments like this. She softened quickly, led him down a corridor that smelled of antiseptic and something floral trying too hard to compensate. His mother was awake. She sat by the window in a chair too large for her now smaller frame, her silver hair neatly combed, her hands folded in her lap. When she saw him, something moved across her face, confusion first, then a slow, breaking dawn of recognition. Her lips trembled. "Marcus," she whispered. He crossed the room in 3 steps and knelt in front of her. He took her hands. They were cold and thin, but her grip was firm. Rex sat at his side, and Margaret, who had never in her life owned a dog, reached out and touched the animal's scarred ear with a gentleness that made Marcus's throat close entirely. "I didn't want you to worry," she said. Gerald said, "He said you had enough on your plate." Gerald was wrong, Marcus said. About everything. He didn't tell her about the house that night. There would be time for the truth, for the legal battles, for the reckoning with a man who had exploited his own sister's vulnerability for a few $1,000s. That time would come. Marcus would make sure of it, not with anger, but with the same quiet, determined precision he had applied to every mission that mattered. What he did that night was sit beside her and let her talk. She told him about a nurse named Donna who smuggled in good coffee, about a man named Harold in the East Wing who played harmonica on Tuesday afternoons and made everyone cry in the best way. She told him she'd been praying for Marcus every single night, lighting an imaginary candle in her mind since she had no church nearby, sending prayers up through the ceiling tile. He stayed until visiting hours ended. Then he went to a motel and Rex slept across his feet. And Marcus stared at the ceiling and made a decision that felt less like a choice and more like a completion. Something that had always been true, finally finding its form. He was not going back overseas. He was home. His mission had shifted. Within 3 months, Marcus had secured a small apartment with a guest room, begun legal proceedings against Gerald, and arranged for his mother to be transferred to a facility closer to him, one with a garden. Peonies in summer. She planted them herself, Rex watching from the path with those steady, knowing eyes. Some things break you open, and in the opening, you finally see what you were made to protect. Marcus had spent years learning to guard strangers in foreign fields. It turned out the most important watch post had always been right here. A silver-haired woman with cold hands and an